We bring you this special radio television broadcast in order to give you the very latest information on an amazing phenomenon. The arrival of a spaceship. Just a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, I think something is happening.
Flying saucers have invaded our planet.
People of Earth, attention.
It's the invasion of the podcast.
The whole world is under attack. Can it survive?
All right, and welcome to the Invasion of the Podcast. I am Paul with good friend of friend Joe.
I am here, yes,
and
I sound a little bit louder.
That's true. We did some quality control here on Invasion of the Podcast because you guys requested it. They're like, that Paul guy, he sounds okay, a bit loud. So hopefully I'm not as loud, and hopefully Joe is more loud.
It's a little bit of a growing process, so bear with us.
I was really worried that we couldn't even get to the show because as I was driving over to pick up Joe tonight, I drove through a Thomas Jane-like mist that was covering all of Cleveland.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that.
I was worried that I was going to get stuck at a grocery store with most of the cast of The Walking Dead, and then we would just have to, I don't know, just declare martial law and a Tops. No, Tops isn't around here anymore. And a Dave's. And, I'd just probably get shot over some flan.
I think you'd be all right as long as Marcia Gay Harden wasn't there.
Yeah, I'd just be like, if I see her, I'm taking my chances outside.
I would too.
I'm out there with Andre, what was his name? Andre Bronner?
Yeah. The guy from
the captain
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, yeah. I'd be out there with him in a heartbeat, yeah. So, got some wonderful, great things to talk about today.
Oh, yeah.
So, let's just dive right into news.
News team, assemble!
All right, so what do we got for news?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of news unfolding, obviously, because everything that's been happening this weekend with Avengers and that stuff, and the summer blockbusters are rolling out, so they're constantly dropping new not spoilers, but basically new news.
Speaking of which, we got some feedback about the spoiler alert button.
The new spoiler alert is a lot more manageable. It sounds a lot better.
So spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert!
There you go. You're welcome, people. You're just like, I can barely hear that. It's like, you're welcome.
It scared me. Our volume levels were pretty high when we were recording last time, and I was like, that air horn's pretty loud.
Yeah, I peed a little.
So, news-wise, what
do you want to do first?
What's his... Drew Goddard got taken out the running for Spider-Man. I don't know if any of you guys know... Sony had lined up. Nothing is ever official, but they always talk. Drew Goddard, who is a writer of Cabin in the Woods, he did the Netflix series Daredevil.
Yeah, he was the executive producer and wrote a lot of it.
Yeah, which is a huge hit, and they were originally lining him up for the first MCU Disney Marvel Spider-Man movie, and now that he's not going to do it. So they have a couple of other people lined up, which I mean. I don't know. I don't want to judge, but I still think I'd rather have Drew Goddard.
Yeah, absolutely. He mentored. I don't know if mentor's the right word, but he was part of the Joss Whedon camp. Which, I'll admit, early on I wasn't the big Joss Whedon person, but like Firefly won me over. The intro song still drives me nuts, but most other Firefly, like, you can't take the sky from me. Like, I hate that. I hate that song.
I know you've expressed hatred of that song. I like it. I mean, I love Firefly. I think the theme song's solid, but that's just my opinion.
Well, actually, that reminds me. Like, Joe and I used to work together at a video store that's no longer around. So with Throw a Dart, you could pick a video store that's not around anymore. Before I worked there, though, I wandered in once, grabbing a copy of Serenity, and you're like, hey, did you watch Firefly? I was like, yeah, I grabbed a copy of Serenity. Yeah, Firefly is a show. Mm-hmm. And you're like, good. I'm glad you watched all Firefly. You're going to enjoy the movie. And you were absolutely right. It was one of those things where it's like, the movie, I'll give Joss Whedon credit. He's really good at being able to tell a self-contained story But that whole like one season going up to it really paid off, and he had to juggle a lot to make that make sense, which is why he's perfect for the Marvel stuff that happened.
Yeah, and I mean, I know we'll probably talk about Firefly later in the future, not today, but just that's another topic altogether. But yeah,
I'm 2 steps away from just talking about how much I love Nathan Fillion at any point in my life.
You can't go wrong with Nathan.
But yeah, like Drew Goddard, he was part of Buffy, like he was part of that as well, and then like I know he directed Cabin in the Woods, which he co-wrote with Joss Whedon. Which Cabin in the Woods, if you've not seen it, amazing, just really good, genre turning, like just crazy, like it shouldn't work but it does. So when he was doing Daredevil, I was on board, watched all of it, binge watched it, like to the point where it physically hurt me, but I'm like, I have to keep watching what happens next. Had hope that he was doing Spider-Man, but evidently there's a list of other directors.
Yeah. TV wise too, we've got 2 new seasons starting for I guess the CW loves iZombie a lot. I did watch 2 episodes, and it's interesting. I liked it. It's something that I'm going to try to continue watching in whatever time I can make. So I'm happy for them with that. And then also PlayStation renewed Powers, which is cool. I don't know.
How is Powers? I didn't get a chance to see that.
I haven't watched it because I don't have a PlayStation. Yeah, but I did read a couple of the issues because I am a big Brian Michael Bendis fan, and who is the gentleman that wrote the comic and pretty much inspires the show.
Cleveland's own Brian Michael Bendis.
Yes, Cleveland has a lot of great talent that I'm sure we'll talk about. I think
we know Brian Michael Bendis is listening to this right now. So hey, we love you.
Yeah, he is.
You're pretty cool. Come back. We miss you. No, but like with Powers though, it's like that is a whole different thing where it's like you have to own a specific system to watch a show. Has that ever happened before?
No, and it's interesting because I think that media is changing that way, much like with the Netflix series. They're basically driving their company with the original content that they're creating, and by original content I mean not Community, Yahoo. But I love Community, but stop Yahoo. It's not original.
That's true.
But the Powers is kind of the first thing that they ever did like that. Like Xbox didn't have a TV show that really ran that was big. I don't really know if there was one that ran just on Xbox.
They hinted at they wanted to actually make creative, like original content. Like the whole Halo Nightfall was supposed to be like a Halo series that they're going to work on, and I think that's still happening. I think Spielberg is associated with that somehow. Yeah. But then Microsoft pulled the plug before they really got into the original content. And the only thing they really did was Nightfall, and then that documentary Game Over about the ET games out in the desert, which that's on Netflix, by the way.
That's right.
Interesting to watch.
Yeah, I remember the Game Over thing, the big talk about that. Is that landfill, ET landfill really out there? We're going to find out.
Yeah, it was like Al Capone's vaults, but with really crappy 4-bit video games.
Yeah. So, I mean,
But Geraldo kept falling into a pit over and over again. He couldn't get out. I don't know. It's so weird. Yeah.
I think it's interesting that Sony did this too, and like to what you said about the Xbox, and what they had to offer with with Halo, which I mean I have nothing against Halo, it's great, but I mean you're limiting your audience in that sense. I think Powers has a bigger group audience because the show is comic booky, yes, but it can draw in more than just those gamers that play Halo, like what the Xbox was trying to do with that. You know what I mean? So. Yeah,
but Microsoft's like, hey, we gotta have a Siri clone. We're going to call it Cortana. So good luck if you don't know what that means.
It's really really funny. The Cortana Siri. What did I ask it? There's an Easter egg if you ask it, what is Halo? And she says, Halo is the story of an AI that is that saves the universe with the assistant of her manly.
That's some rewriting of history there.
Yeah,
so good for Cortana.
She basically gives you the tale, like if you ask the Cortana Siri, that she was the main hero protagonist of Halo, which funny. I thought was pretty cool.
So one thing I wanted to ask real quickly, we kind of we grazed right by it, not grazed. We quickly went by it. We did talk about Spider-Man and possible directors. Mm-hmm. I did read in passing that one of them is it Jared Hess?
Jared Hess is one of the ones that they're talking about. If you
Napoleon Dynamite
yes,
fame.
Jared Hess was the Napoleon Dynamite Nacho Libre director. And then there's a couple other one. Jonathan Levine, who did Warm Bodies.
That movie was okay. Did you see Warm Bodies?
I couldn't finish it. Zombies to me, I can appreciate campy B movie zombies, but some things I don't like. Zombies.
Zombies.
The zombies are a thing. I mean, Shaun of the Dead proved that. I love Shaun of the Dead, but there are zombies out there that I can't really get into.
I like the idea that it's actually just brain dead romantic comedies.
Yeah.
It's just like anything with Reese Witherspoon is a zombie. That's all there is to it.
But I did watch Warm Bodies, and part of it was I was tired. Part of it I was slowly losing interest in the characters. So,
you know what? I ended up watching it well after the fact, and it was better than I was expecting. But I wasn't expecting much. It just, even though I felt like it went to the thing that romantic comedies do, or romantic whatever. It's like, here's a song that you kind of know. We're going to press that button over and over again to make you feel something. Though Nicholas Hoult, the guy who was the main lead in that, who is Beast in the newer X-Men movies. Yes. He was given a tough thing to do, and I really liked him in that movie.
I did like Nicholas Hoult. I didn't really like the chemistry with him and the girl. In the background, zombies.
She was way too accepting of getting captured and just kind of hanging out in an airplane.
Especially after she found out the brain eating stuff, and I'm just like, you're pretty okay with this, even though you live in a world of zombies. And then I think Jason Moore, who did Pitch Perfect, is also in the running.
How much singing is Spider-Man going to do?
I don't know. Maybe they're trying to revive Turn Off the Dark.
It's going to be a live-action movie where everybody in that movie gets hurt somehow, and that's what's going to happen. There's going to be some kind of sequence with some cups.
A ton of failed stunts. If you guys don't know, Turn Off the Dark was the Spider-Man Broadway play that failed horribly.
Yeah.
I did not see it. Would I have gone and see it? Yes.
Yes. It's like Spider-Man and singing, and there's an enemy called the Swiss Miss, which is what actually was in there. It's true. They created this whole new villain, which I don't know if she threw snack cakes at Spider-Man, but I would watch it. Or hot cocoa. She's just because you get it cocoa, it's a little too hot. You're like, no. And it's I will attack you with tiny marshmallows. Yeah. I would probably watch that. But it didn't last, so we'll never know.
It didn't.
But the whole Jared Hess thing, it's it makes me wonder, because they also said that Sony wants to recreate kind of a John Hughes vibe Spider-Man film.
Yeah.
It's is he going to be in detention because he fought the Sinister Six? It's no. You're a kid in high school. You can't. Your Saturday belongs to me. You mess with the Rhino, you get the horn. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I get the whole notion of you want to create a character that's relatable.
Yeah.
And I think Peter Parker is the most relatable person in all of comics, because it's I'm a kid with all these awesome powers. I have problems. Well, do we need to go back to that over and over again, though?
No, and I talked to you before, I loved Ultimate Spider-Man, the comic series that really rebooted. That was in 2001. Brian Michael Bendis again. He wrote that, and that was his brainchild for restarting Spider-Man in the Ultimate Universe. And it was Spider-Man in high school again. And I remember when you introduced me to it, I was like, I can't do high school Spider-Man again. But I read it and I loved it. And I'm really hoping they can kind of recreate that magic, but at the same time, Spider-Man doesn't have to be a kid to be relatable and have problems. He's had problems all throughout his life, and that's what kind of makes him relatable. He's like an underdog. So.
Yeah, and I know there was a story recently that Joss Whedon said that had he gotten the go-ahead, oh shoot, I got to press this right now, so let's just have this happen. Spoiler alert! See, it didn't make you guys pee. So there you go. But he was rumor was to have him at the very, very end of Age of Ultron as being a walk on, which I don't know how I would have felt about that.
I wouldn't have liked a walk on, and I'm kind of glad they didn't. I would have liked maybe a small not more of an Easter egg. Not so much the actual actor in the
maybe
suit.
An after credits tease or something.
Yeah,
that would have been fine.
A kid in Queens with some powers, but they originally, Whedon wanted to have Spidey and actually Captain Marvel be part of that final scene in the Avengers where the new team is kind of assembling, which we still could not get them to say. Yeah.
We're going to talk about Age of Ultron here a little bit more in a second. But so other news, what else do we got there?
Well, Martin Freeman, I mean, I hate to keep going back to comic books or movies, but I mean, that's pretty much what Hollywood loves right now. That's not true, but I mean,
comic books, movies, really crappy Stephanie Meyer books.
fan fiction of
whatever
Stephanie
her,
Meyer,
fan fiction of Stephanie Meyer books.
Yeah,
like that kind of stuff.
Well, Martin Freeman joins
50 Shades of Vampire,
Captain America: Civil War, which Civil War is going to be the next Captain America movie, which ties into the events that happen in the comic with, basically the superheroes button heads in a Civil War. They didn't say who was going to play, but I mean, I'm really optimistic because I like Martin Freeman a lot. He's a good actor.
So, do you think it's going to be Civil War, just like sides divided, or do you think it's going to be more of like, Dear Agent Carter, it's been so long since I've last seen you. It's been 50 years, but the war has been so tough. I lost my shield. It's like a Ken Burns. I'm writing letters in the air that you guys can't see. I don't know why I'm doing that. It's just
it helps with it. No, I don't know. I think it's going to be an interesting Civil War because they've admitted that Tony's not going to be a villain, or he's not going to be the main antagonist.
Yeah.
And you've got Baron Zemo lined up. So I don't know where it's going to go.
Well, and that goes back to what we talked about last week, where it's like now and there's actually an article that was on cracked.com, but they're not exactly known for news, but they're like a comedy site. But this guy wrote an article where he feels that, like, he argued that Age of Ultron kind of changed the way movies are made. And I think his whole big main thrust of that is that Marvel is like, we're going to do what we want. It doesn't matter what's happened before. And now they can present a lot of different ideas into like the regular audience space. So like the idea that like neither Captain America or Iron Man are going to be the villain in this, but they're going to be on different sides.
Okay.
That's a different challenge than good guy versus bad guy. It's ideology versus ideology. And that it makes a way different movie than just punching each other in the face.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Also, Disney, to get away from comic books, Disney, unfortunately, still Disney.
Welcome to Disney Cast.
Yeah, exactly. Disney has confirmed that they're going to fire up Indiana Jones again. They haven't given details. Is it going to be Harrison Ford? Probably not. But the big rumor is, and even though he's denied it, Chris Pratt could be putting the fedora on.
Sure.
So
I love Chris Pratt. He can do no wrong now. So
I mean,
he has that sense of fun.
Yeah.
Like you might as well have called Guardians of the Galaxy Space Indiana Jones.
Space Indiana Jones.
We called the alien Indy. Like, I don't know, whatever. But
I mean, he did do some in the beginning with the Infinity Gem. When he finds that's very Indiana Jones.
Yeah, they just needed a big space rock to chase him. Like, I don't know what the difference between a space rock is and a regular rock, except one's up in space. I don't know. But
I hate Kree. Why did it have to be Kree?
Why did it have to be Kree? So I hope so. Like, I hope like now that like. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this. Is some foreshadowing, which is perfect because we're going to talk about some Star Wars later. So that Star Wars is nothing but foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Now that Indiana Jones has also been taken away from the neckbeard that is George Lucas, I think that there's actually going to be a chance now for someone to actually critically look at this and be like, why did we love this to begin with? Why did this work to begin with? Let's get back to that.
Yeah.
And again, and I'm sure we'll talk about this, but Lucas, good ideas, great world builder, but later on it's like, I just think everyone's just like, he's Howard Hughes. He can build the Spruce Goose. It's fine. We're not going to tell him no. He has enough money. It's fine.
Let him go.
Yeah.
So,
other bit of news, I don't know if you brought this up or not, in terms of like for us to talk about, Josh Trank, director of Fantastic Four that's coming out soon, that I don't know how I feel about, stepped away from a Star Wars movie recently.
Yeah. Was it Rogue One?
No. That's Gareth Edwards, the guy who did Godzilla. He's still doing that.
Josh Trank was the Boba Fett?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, another director leaving a property, so a Disney property too.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see this too unfold, just because, like, I mean, it proves, you see a little bit of the industry like that, because, I mean, especially with Disney, and they're big, so this gets out, if they're that big, this hits the news. Just like, not to get into it too deeply, but Edgar Wright leaving Ant-Man. And now you've got a couple other Disney movies coming out that, Star Wars and Spider-Man, that, they're losing these directors. And you wonder what it is. Is it Disney? Is it certain producers? What is it,
Yeah, I just, the whole Edgar Wright thing, it bums me out. Even though I'm looking forward to Ant-Man, and I think Peyton Reed, is that the guy's name that's doing it? No, Adam Peyton something. I feel really bad for.
I'm sorry,
failing on
I'm
that.
not
but,
good on director names.
but I have a feeling that's going to be fine. It's just, and I know they recently even give Edgar Wright and the other guy, Edgar Wright's like friend that did Attack the Block, which is a good movie, by the way. They both get writing credit now. They officially said that they're putting them in the movie as writing credit for that. That's going to bother me. I feel bad. I apologize to the other guy. I know you're listening with Brian Michael Bendis. I apologize. But like, and then Joss Whedon, he, now that he's stepping away from Marvel, he even went on record saying that the Ant-Man script was the greatest thing that Marvel had, but then they had to create differences. Edgar Wright at least has done things. Josh Trank did Chronicle, which was, that was interesting. I didn't mind it, but it's like, you've done that, and then you did Fantastic Four, which we've yet to see. So far, I don't have a lot of faith in it. It could be great. I just don't know. And it's like, and then they came to the Kings of the Kingdom to do a Star Wars movie. Which let's look at all those Star Wars movies made. Do you really think you're going to do something worse than Phantom Menace?
Yeah,
like I don't think so. Like unless you're just like within the first 5 minutes, like you fall on your face and let the camera run for 2 hours, and you just hear lightsabers the entire time. Don't think you're going to mess it up.
I don't think it's it might not be so much to mess it up. I mean, it could be a lot of things. I'm not going to speculate.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. I don't know who they're going to announce to do it, but I'm sure Disney, there's too much money on the line to do these what they call anthology movies is what they call them. Not anthology. What do they call them? They don't call they got the main chapter movies.
Yeah.
And then they call them something not chronicle. I think it's anthology movies.
I think it's anthology movies because it's going to be stuff that's not focused on the Skywalker kids and stuff like that.
Skywalker kids.
It pretty much
keep it up with the Skywalkers.
Yeah. Main Star Wars canon is pretty much all about the Skywalkers. So
yeah, and whatever. It just whiny kids. I hopefully hopefully the grandkids aren't that whiny. We'll find out soon.
Yeah.
We'll more Star Wars stuff is coming.
Yes.
So any other news that we want to get into?
We got Independence Day is a thing that's happening. And they announced that Sheila Ward's on board. She's going to be the president in Independence Day too.
Welcome to Earth.
She needs to step up her speech game.
Yes.
Maybe Bill Pullman will write her speeches for her. Who knows? But Bill Pullman's a speech in Independence Day.
Would you like Bill Pullman to be shaved, bald, and kind of be like the Dick Cheney of Independence Day, where it's like they could be peaceful. We don't know. Let's just attack them.
Let's waterboard these aliens.
and I'm going to say this right now. Joe and I were talking about this before the show, so I'm going to hit this right now. Oh! Spoiler alert! It's not really a spoiler. But wouldn't it be great if Bill Paxton was the president in this movie? Because then it would just been like you would never know, you would never remember who was who. Do you ever think, has there ever been a movie where there's Bill Paxton and Bill Pullman? I bet you there's been one, and I hope they play the same character and they just switched it halfway through and no one noticed.
That would be like if they did a Dylan McDermott, Dermot Mulroney flip flop too.
I want to see a fan edit of Weird Science where they stuck Bill Pullman in the second half. I don't know, but that would have been great. Or make Will Smith president. Why not? Or Jeff Goldblum. Just pick one of those guys. Judd Hirsch. Judd Hirsch is still around. He was just a cab driver in New York. Make him president. Why not? Oh, and did you see the other thing too? Is that the president's daughter in the first movie was Mae Whitman, who is she's Anne from Arrested Development. She was one of the exes in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. She was the ninja one.
Okay.
Yeah, she was the daughter of Bill Pullman's character, and they recast the part. And what's her name? Oh, the girl from Pitch Perfect, the main girl,
Anna Kendrick.
Yeah, Anna Kendrick was she kind of was getting a little pissy about it on Twitter. It's why not just cast Mae Whitman again? Yeah,
she's very. I know. I don't really do Twitter that much. I do it for the podcast.
Let's throw that out.
Well, yeah, I'll throw it. Let me.
Okay, fine.
But no. I know she's real Twitter active. I've seen a lot of her tweets pop up in other places other than Twitter. But no, what's our Twitter's @Invading Podcast, and our Facebook Invasion of the Podcast.
And Invading Podcast at Gmail. Anna Kendrick, if you're listening, call me. I don't know. I don't have anything. Anna Kendrick, Rebel Wilson, call me. Anthony Mackie, call me. I'm starting to. I don't know. I went from Anna Kendrick to Rebel Wilson, who they were in Pitch Perfect, and then Rebel Wilson to Anthony Mackie, who were in Pain and Gain.
Oh, so we're doing.
I don't know. And then I'm just like, hey, Mark Wahlberg, call me.
We're doing Kevin 7 degrees or 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon now.
And then
or?
Tony Shalhoub, call me. I don't. Everybody, call me. I would talk to Tony Shalhoub. I'd be like, hey, Wings, how was that?
Yeah, a lot of people forget about Wings. But check out our Facebook, check out our Twitter. We definitely want to get out there and reach people that like stuff like us. Where it's basically we're doing this for fun and we're doing it for them and us. So
yeah, and also to foreshadow, just like Star Wars. Later on, I'm going to announce something for the next episode that we're working on. And any feedback would be appreciated. So keep listening. So, all right. So, any more news? Or we're going to move on to the next thing?
I think we're good on news. I mean, we could go through tons of news, but I think that's some of the more recent stuff.
All right. So now we're going to talk about our crazy weekend that we had. So right now.
And now for our feature presentation.
All right. So this Friday was Free Comic Book Day, which is pretty much just a holiday for anybody that likes all the things that we talk about.
Yeah.
I know Joe was going to talk a little bit about the origin of Free Comic Book Day, and then we'll talk about what we did. While you just don't pay attention, I'm going to open something in the background.
Yeah, so Free Comic Book Day is it kicked off in 2001, and basically a journalist had decided to come up with this idea based on the success of like feature films based on comic books. And he wanted to kind of like create a culture around it, to help literacy and things like that. And it actually it got a big push from Image Comics publisher Jim Valentino. So their idea basically kind of blossomed into this date where retailers across the country would hand out free comic books. The first one was right around 2002. And they always seem to coincide with release of a comic movie. So like Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man back in 2002 on May 4th, that was the first Free Comic Book Day. Now, they don't just let you come in the store and you're just like, I need this right here. Let me get Amazing Fantasy 15. Yeah. I'm going to take this one to go as my free guy.
I need 3 Action Comics, whatever Superman was in, like right now.
No, they have a set list, and we posted on our Facebook the comics that they gave away for free. And it ranges pretty far and wide. I mean, you've got Archie, Bob's Burgers. There were some Doctor Who comic books.
Mr. Do comics.
Not really Mega Man, and then of course you've got your DC and your Marvel properties. They throw a few in there. So Marvel took the opportunity to put a new Avengers one in there. They also did a tie-in for Secret Wars. So it's a very wide range, ranging from adults to kids. My Little Pony, everything.
Yeah. So everybody, I'm sure there's a lot of celebrations across the country, the world, the universe. We were at a local Cleveland establishment. Like it's like basically like the mecca for Cleveland comics. Mm-hmm. John and Carol's over in Camp's Corner on the west side. We were both there. People were in costume. I was in costume. I was sweating a lot in my costume. I was dressed up as the Dennis Nedry from the Jurassic Park, and my black dinosaur spit was probably running profusely as I walked around, but it was a good time. I got to hand out tiny dinosaurs and talk to people. And Carol and John's great hosts for this. And I'm not just saying that just because we want to say nice things. It really is. Like, I've been there before, not just for this. Like, I go there all the time. It is tough to go in and not spend like your entire life savings every time you walk into that place. But they had a good setup. They had a free bar to walk into, where they originally they started off the night with 2 beers that they actually had crafted specifically for Free Comic Book Day. There was a Prime Amber Ale that had Ultron on it, and a Mark 45. Is that 45? Yeah, that's an Iron Man Pale Ale. Or is it an IPA? It's IPA.
It's a pale ale.
Pale ale. And they had those both courtesy of the Brew Kettle, which is in Strongsville, so I suggest checking that out.
Yes.
And in fact, I am drinking a Brew Kettle beer. We'll foreshadow that later. It's a good time. But yeah, it's like they had the comics, good deals, a lot of people there, and there was artists there doing free sketches. Yeah,
there's a lot of pictures I put up on our Facebook. If you guys want to check it out, see what it was about, what it looked like. It was a lot of fun. We met a lot of cool artists. We got a couple of sketches done. So
So we normally, this is episode and a half in. Normally, let me just, in the lore of Invasion of the Podcast, going all the way back to last week, we try to keep things approachable to everybody. I'm gonna break that for a second, and I went up to a gentleman, the gentleman Abdul
Rashid.
Yeah, Abdul Rashid. And I was like, hey, can you please do a sketch of Darkhawk for me? He's like, give me a second. I got to look that guy up. Darkhawk is a lesser-known Marvel character from the mid-'90s that I absolutely love. And credit to Rashid, he drew me a Darkhawk that I now have in a frame that will be hung up in my office here shortly. That is amazing. And I enjoyed that he took 2 seconds to be like, I'm going to look at that, and I'm going to draw that. So special props out to him. He does have a website to check out. It is ahrvisions.com. And it looks like he has a couple projects here to work on. And it was a good choice for me to ask him about Darkhawk because everything here looks like a robot.
Yeah.
A badass robot. Yeah.
When you asked him to do Darkhawk and he looked it up, and then I was looking at his art while he was doing that. I thought it was ironic that we kind of chose him just as, I think you and I were standing there and it was like, hey, let's get a sketch. And we picked him just on kind of random, and then his artwork was spot on for Darkhawk. It was very
perfect.
Yeah, well, perfect. It was very. There's a lot of he did a lot of mech stuff, robot stuff, and not that Darkhawk's a robot, but he does have a lot of techie and edge to his suit
and a lot of badass. So that's just it. Darkhawk, if you're listening, you're badass. He's probably not listening. Probably exiled to some dark corner of the Marvel Universe. There'll never be a Darkhawk movie, and that breaks my heart. But that happened. Joe got a sketch of Venom that I think every tooth in the world went into the sketch of Venom. There's 67,000 teeth in this Venom sketch. That was amazing, and I feel bad because the guy who did it probably used every black marker he had to finish doing Venom. And what was that gentleman's name?
Well, he did go through quite a bit of black marker, and when I was watching him draw, start it, it was just kind of funny watching him get the outline, and then all of a sudden it's the black marker came out, and you're like, oh, this thing's gonna get completely drained out. So
it was all black, and then there was a really large tongue, like 6 metric feet of tongue for Venom.
But yeah, no, the artist who drew it, Rick Lorenzo, he did a fabulous job on it, and he had a lot of great prints there, a lot of Ninja Turtles, really cool Ninja Turtle artwork, and after I had got done, he drew a really mean Pikachu.
And I don't have to off the top of my head. I know he has a Kickstarter going on for a comic series that he would like to get going.
He does. He has a Kickstarter that's set up. He's doing a series called American Night. I read the concept of it, and it sounded really interesting. It sounds like something I would read about somebody who had the American dream, and then corporate greed crushed it, and then he basically just got fed up, and he becomes a vigilante.
Did you hear that motorcycle in the background? That might be the American Night driving somewhere. I don't know. Spoiler alert, I'm not going to press the button again, but we have a window open, and that is the nightlife of Cleveland, bleeding in.
So,
yeah. So we got that, and then I also got an awesome Batman done by Steve L. King, who he was super gracious while we waited because he was doing another cover for a gentleman that he was doing a blank Wolverine's cover, but done up like the original image introduction of the Punisher on Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I forget which number.
I think Spider-Man, I want to say Amazing Spider-Man 129.
Something like that, yeah. It was the original, you could look it up, but it's the whole thing where Punisher has Spider-Man in his sights, and he's taking a shot, but it's basically Deadpool taking a shot at Wolverine. It was really awesome. And then
with a spitball. It wasn't using a gun. It was a spitball.
I didn't notice that part. I think I was still a little far along with the Prime Amber Ale, but then he did an awesome Batman for me, and we talked for quite a bit. And he is a delight to talk to.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun talking to all those guys. Check out Steve's DeviantArt page. He's got a lot of really nice pieces of work up on there.
Yeah. So again, thank you, Carol and Johns, for hosting everything. Really good time, a lot of fun, free comics, enjoyable. I even went back the next day to pick up stuff because after walking around all that, I didn't buy anything. I felt really bad about that. We bought a stuffed Deadpool for Mary, and she loved it, but then I didn't buy any comics. So the next day we went for a brief second. I picked up. I was missing some volumes of Ex Machina, which is not the movie that's out in theaters right now, but the Brian K. Vaughan series. So I now have a complete Ex Machina finally again, because I had loaned some out and lost them.
I brought it back.
Yeah, well, there you go. No, that's different, but yeah, so I got that complete again. So thank you, Carol and Johns. I am going to briefly touch on what happened to me later that Saturday. I went to the Cleveland Cinemas, had something called the 12 Hours of Terrible, as I destroy my headphones here. 12 Hours of Terrible, 12 hours, because it's 12 Hours Terrible, from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., and here are the movies that I sat through with my friend Rob. It was like $30 to get through this whole thing. Why do I hate my life that much? It happened. Over the Top.
Oh.
Sylvester Stallone competitive arm wrestling movie in which he's just trying to win his son back. I don't know. Miami Connection, which I know Joe has not seen.
No.
I have not seen it before either. But if I said to you, it's a movie that's made in the 80s, honestly made in the 80s, about a local band that happened to be black belt taekwondo people that fight ninjas on motorcycles, that does not do justice to what this movie is.
Would you say it's kind of in the realm of Kung Fury?
But on purpose.
Is Kung
Fury knows it's a joke.
Okay.
Miami Connection does not know it's a joke. I think I posted on Facebook that it's Purple Rain meets The Warriors meets The Room equals Miami Connection. Because the main guy behind all this thinks he's making a good movie. It is bad and awesome.
Speaking of Kung Fury, that's something I'm going to throw that up on the Twitter and the Facebook. If you guys have not seen the trailer or the Kickstarter project for Kung Fury, don't take it seriously.
But it's awesome.
It's awesome. I mean, David Hasselhoff.
And there's the video with David Hasselhoff that you showed me.
Yeah, has even made a video for it, and it needs to be made.
Yes, I would watch that 7,000 times.
Yeah.
So then we did Plan Out from Outer Space. Let me just also reiterate that, before I walked in the theater, because one of the rules was that you couldn't really leave the premise. So I went and bought 2 5-hour energies. And I'm like, I'm going to be here for 12 hours. I'm going to wait. I viewed the 5-hour energies kind of similar to what happened in Back to the Future 3 when they had that train and it was chugging along the tracks. They kept throwing all the different charges into it just to get it up to 88 miles an hour. And I'm like, I'm going to need these later. I'm going to need Doc Brown whipping these in and just hoping to get me through. Right. So Plan 9 from Outer Space, people consider it the worst movie ever made. Ed Wood, Bela Lugosi's last film, technically, because he was just filmed randomly and then put in. It was rough. That was the one. I pulled the ripcord on the first 5-hour energy. It was all just dialogue. And it was tough. And then after that, Drive Angry in 3D, the Nicolas Cage movie. Which, you know what? That's my second time seeing it. That movie's ridiculous. It's not that bad.
It was in 3D though.
Yeah, we had 3D glasses.
Oh,
they actually
okay.
busted them out for that. And
Nice.
It's seeing the Cage in 3D made me kind of happy, and it gave me some more energy to get through. And that movie, man, if you've not seen it, Nick Cage knows the movie he's making. I say what you want about him, he makes some really crappy movies, but he's aware the entire time of what he's doing.
Yeah,
because he's made some good stuff too.
He has.
Dude was in The Rock. The Rock's one of the greatest freaking movies of all time. Maybe not, but I love it.
I owe the IRS money. Nick Cage is
and he was an adaptation, which is a great movie.
Yeah.
But the Drive Angry, a lot of fun in 3D. Then, so here comes the rough stretch. There's 3 to go after this, right? So there's a movie called The Baby, which I know Joe's never seen. I have heard of in passing, just maybe because of the advertisement for this. 1972. It is a legitimate movie about a social worker that goes to visit a family where the mother supposedly has 2 full-grown daughters, if I could talk right. And she is raising a male child that supposedly has not progressed since infanthood. And so this guy is his mid-20s, full grown, but acting like a baby because the mom's like, well, he's never passed this point, and he doesn't have a name. It's called Baby.
Does he talk or
he talks like a baby? So here's fun fact.
I think they have a skit like that on SNL.
Now they do, and that's all funny. But when you watch this movie, my mouth was agape the entire time. I looked at my friend Rob. I was like,
so it's not.
I don't feel comfortable watching this.
So it's not a comedy in any sense. That's awkward.
No, like there's a bit where there's a babysitter that's like watching the baby, and then she goes upstairs. She's like, "Oh, why are you so upset?" And so, a brief note. I didn't know this, but like the original release of the movie, the guy who played the baby did all the noises, like, "Oh, I'm frustrated. I'm a baby. I don't understand life. I don't know what a baby really goes through." I guess I was one, but I don't remember it. But they actually went in and dubbed actual baby noises later because they lost the original vocal soundtrack. It is weird as all get out to hear this grown man make the struggling baby noises, like that whole, that odd, they just can't function, like crying noise. And then she's like, "Oh, do you need your diaper changed?" And I looked at my friend. I was like, "I don't know if we should watch this right now." I feel like Chris Hansen's going to walk into the theater and be like, "You guys are all arrested." And so then that happens.
The lights come on and he's standing at the front of the theater.
He's like, "Hey," he's like, "have some lemonade. Tell me what happened." Right. So no, we were watching this movie and I just I just couldn't believe it's not graphic in that sense. Like there's some things that go on that are questionable.
Yeah.
It's not like Human Centipede graphic or anything, but it's like uncomfortable. And
you don't have to have graphic Saw, Human Centipede type things to make it.
No, you just need a grown man in a crib with a diaper, and then when the social worker's like, "Get the ball," and he's like, "I want to get the ball." It's like I'm out. I'm out. But it's like, but I committed. I paid $30 to get through this, and I was like, damn it if I'm not going to get through it.
That's a great concept because I mean, some people love terrible movies. Not because they're good movies, but because they are bad.
I would argue that this isn't terrible. It's just so bizarre.
Right.
And we got to the end and it has kind of like a Twilight Zone kind of twist ending. And it's like, okay, fine. It got me through. And it's one of those movies that everybody needs to see once. Maybe never again, but once. I don't know if I'll ever watch it again, but it was so weird. And then after that is the M. Night Shyamalan masterpiece, The Happening.
The Happening.
Which I remember sitting, talking to Rob at the beginning, and I told him, I was like, this movie should be called Not Much Happening, and someone way down the theater started laughing at what I said. Have you seen The Happening?
I've not seen The Happening, but that's a good joke because I know, I'm sure, that was on at, probably 3, 2,
yeah, it was pushing
in the
it.
morning.
Before this happened, this is the second 5-hour energy. I held it up like it was a shot of tequila, and I was like, "Here's to you, Shyamalan," and I downed it because I knew I was going to need it. I just knew that Mark Wahlberg telling me what was going on the entire time. I just could not. And Zooey Deschanel, which I'm pretty sure they added 6 pounds to her eyes. Because you just see her, it's she almost has the I don't know, the Spanish paintings of the Big Eye Kids or whatever. It's just every scene was her just I don't know. Are we going to make it as a couple? I don't know. And then people just fall down randomly.
I know the premise of it. I didn't actually see the movie, but when I read about it, because I was on the fence. Shyamalan was starting to taper off. Then after he got his peak with Sixth Sense, but then
if you taper off as in sharp jutting off a cliff downward. I saw Lady in the Water. Lady in the Water was half of an okay movie.
Yeah, I appreciated what he tried to do with that with storytelling, but then The Happening and the whole be well, the plants want to kill us with their pollen, and I'm
not even pollen. It's they just put toxins out, and I'm putting my fingers in air quotes. And then so you literally have scenes of people running away from wind in this movie, and it's how do you outrun wind? Guess what? You don't. But people were. It's just and then as we're in the theater, every time the wind would rustle, I would just yell out, "Oh no!" And there was people behind me that thankfully, because at that point, if you're already in 5-6 movies in, I could have been talking gibberish. It wouldn't have mattered.
And I think a lot of people going into that I can't think of the word. The crowd interaction, is probably a big piece. It's not you're going to see Jurassic World for the first time and everybody's shh, shh.
Yeah, no, after the baby, I think everybody's brain was broken. Yeah. I felt my soul was a little gone after that point. So The Happening was just enough. That movie ended. Everyone was yeah, it's a great movie. It was terrible. Blah, 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 blah. Why did I say great movie? I don't know. People were tired. I was tired. The last movie, going at 4:30 in the morning, Masters of the Universe with Dolph Lundgren, which I'm going to call up my friend Pat Pat, I know you're not going to listen to this just because like you're out doing important things, which, you know, I got to look that up. I got to pimp his thing later. Maybe not, because he loves Master Universe. So maybe I won't pimp anything he likes, because Master Universe is not a good movie.
No.
The Cosmic Key, I just want to shoot people after like listening to Billy Barty like tap the Cosmic Key, like blah, 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 blah. That's not the same noise, but it's like blah, blah, blah. I'm going to open up a portal to Earth and go see Girl from Friends.
Courtney Cox.
And
Yeah.
it's like, and then we're gonna have Man at Arms eat fried chicken and talk to other female. What Tila? Tila.
Yeah.
And it's like great. And then you know what? Skeletor badass. Skeletor was amazing in
Who
that
played
movie.
Skeletor in
Frank
that?
Langella,
Oh,
who
yeah.
played Nixon and Frost Nixon.
Yeah.
Like he played Nixon, and then the people asked him like what his favorite character is of all time. He's like Skeletor. Like he was really good as Skeletor.
He was a good
loved
Skeletor.
And Dolph Lundgren wasn't a bad He-Man.
No.
That was not a good movie.
It is the story.
And like had I watched that movie at 6 in the evening, it would have been fun. But at 4 in the morning, I was angry the entire time because it was just late enough that I couldn't get Mary to come get me because I didn't want to wake her up early. But I just knew I had to stick it through to the end. But I was just so angry. I'm just like, God damn it, Billy Barty! Could you just get the Cosmic Key and solve everything, please? I just want to go home and fall asleep and not dream about the baby. That's all I really wanted at that point. Got through to the end. Oh, that's the other thing. It was like you got through the entire thing. You got $5 back. So I got my $5 back. So I spent so much money at the concession stand just because I was bored between movies. Not bored as in the Cedar Lee was bad. It's just.
Did you go see it at the Capitol or Cedar
Lee?
Cedar Lee, okay.
And I'm sure that place smelled like a hobo pit when it was all done because we were there for 12 hours. But like, it was a good time by them. But it's just like I was like, I have to get more popcorn, more soda. I have to get some Bunch of Crunch just because. It was just like one of those things. Like, here, take my money because I want something different to do. But yeah, it just like after Free Comic Book Day, 12 hours terrible. My brain was mush the next day. Yeah. So anyway, there's that.
But that's really cool that you did that. I mean, and the Cedar Lee hosted. I think did the Capitol host it too? I want to say
the Capitol does do odd movies, and I'm gonna might as well just pimp this right now. So coming up this Friday at the Cedar Lee at 9:30 and midnight, there's a movie called Roar. That is was made in the 70s, didn't release to the 80s because of various production problems. Melanie Griffith is in it. Her mother, Tippi Hedren, is in it as well. Most of the cast and production crew got attacked by lions and large cats. Most of what you see on the screen is real of people getting attacked by large cats. I cannot wait to see this movie. And I'm not one into like snuff films, but I'm all about lions attacking people.
Yeah.
That's playing, and then the next week, it's coming to the Capitol at midnight.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm gonna be there at the 9:30, seeing some lions attack.
I know you told me about it. Exposed me to the trailer. It was interesting, to say the least. I will put the trailer up on our Facebook and tweet it just so you guys can check it out. It's an interesting trailer, and looking into it, if you wiki it or whatever, they did use a lot of big cats with, I want to say, very little animal supervision, and according to them, none of the cats were harmed other than the cats kind of like messing with each other. But a lot of the cast and crew were,
yeah, like the director got gangrene from like there was a bit like I read about this, like there was a storm on one of the sets and they had to get all the big cats like to safety, and like on some of the cats suffered because of that. Like, but that wasn't really part of the film. But one of the the director was trying to get like this like large lion or a lioness or puma, I don't know what it was, like anyway, trying to get it like to safety, and the thing turned around and just like clawed at him.
Yeah.
And it ended up hitting his feet, and he ended up getting gangrene. It was like one of those things where it's like, if it was me, I'd been like, I'm done. This is the movie. This movie's 20 minutes long, and this is where it ends right now.
It was back in the day when probably the animal acting and handling for Hollywood was not what it is today.
Pre-Beastmaster, where it's like, we're just going to take a lion and dye it black, and it's going to die.
But it's in no way like an animal cruelty piece or anything like that.
No, it's more of a human cruelty piece.
Yeah, and it's basically it's a movie that got produced and is funny because it's like you shouldn't have done that because it's like you're playing with fire. Like,
and that fire is lions. Yeah. All right. So enough about that. Let's move on to what also happened this week. There's something important that happened, and it was this. It was May the 4th, Star Wars Day. Star Wars Disco Day is what happened. We're going to listen to some disco music. Or, I wish I had the Bill Murray singing the Star Wars theme. But I don't have that.
Oh. Nothing but Star Wars.
Yeah, so Star Wars Day happened. It was a big deal, especially right now with the new Star Wars movie coming. This is the first time in a long time I'm excited for a Star Wars movie. And a side note, recently there was a local establishment that we went to on May the 4th, Corky's, which is like my favorite place in the world. They had Star Wars Trivia Day. Mm-hmm. And Joe, being like the absolute Star Wars, like he knows more about Star Wars than Lucas knows about Star Wars. And I would argue that.
No, there's no argument. You know what? I would say that too, only because I know that guy is not immersed into that universe.
He's like, is it a weird name? I'm out.
Like I remember seeing an interview years ago, and they're like, do you watch your movies and every now and then? He's like, oh, I haven't seen one of them in like 7 years. And I'm like,
watched American Graffiti once. I don't know, but the Harrison Ford guy may go places.
I watch Howard the Duck once a week.
He knows quack foo.
Which one of my friends watches Howard the Duck at least once a week as well. So
should we be worried about that person? I don't know. Okay.
No, he's fine.
So the Star Wars thing that happened at the bar was a good time. There was a trivia contest. Joe did win the trivia contest, like hands down. Like there was 3 levels of questions. I got the Padawan one, and I looked at that. I was like, I don't even know any of this. And I feel like I've seen Star Wars enough to kind of have an idea. But it's like it is like just down to the detail. Credit to Brandon who ran the whole thing. Like there were some challenging questions. Like I maybe knew one, but I didn't even fill the thing out because I didn't want to embarrass myself in front of everybody else.
Yeah, they did. It was Padawan, Jedi Knight, Jedi Master, and it was kind of like a quiz sheet test. And you turned it in. And I'm not gonna. The Jedi Masters did challenge me. I am not perfect. I got one right, but the other 2 I pretty much filled out before my beer got back. So.
Yeah, so he won, and we'll tweet this out. He won a Greedo bobblehead.
A Greedo bobblehead, the Star Wars trivia trophy from May the 4th.
Because Greedo bobbled first.
Yeah,
I don't know what that means. So anyway, we're talking about May the 4th. Everyone's all about like the Jedi and that crying kid that was in the first couple movies.
The whole family is
the whole
crying
family.
Kid.
It's just like
I think Leia's the only one who does not cry.
Yeah, because she was given a pretty like cush lifestyle,
which you would think she would be the cry one.
Yeah, it's like I don't know who my real family is, but she didn't know until later, until Colt 45 guy is like, hey, we got to tell you what's going on. I don't know if Lando really told her that or not. I don't know, but did he tell her that? Probably not. I'm making that up.
Tell
Lando,
her what?
Like that, like their brother and sister. Who told her that?
I don't know. I think in the movie it was implied Luke told her, but then like
after they kissed.
Yeah, no, like in Jedi, he implied it, like, and it was funny how he implies it. He's like, my sister has the Force, and he looks at her like, that's you.
Oh,
like so.
It's like, oh, but I kissed you earlier. It was weird,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so people may not know this. I'm pro Jedi because I don't know. I like robes. I don't know. I don't know. Like I like shooting missiles into small exhaust ports as a pastime. I'm just like that's the size of a womp rat or 3 cats. I don't know what a womp rat's really size. Like, I like shooting cats. The mission, but Joe is. And he's part-time, like when he's not working face-to-face with the public, he is pro-Sith.
Yeah.
And feels like that they're not represented well.
No, I do pro bono PR work for the Sith. So, they got it rough. And, I'm just trying to help them out.
I figure with this May the 4th, maybe, screw the Jedi, let's talk a little bit about the Sith here. And so, with that being said, since he is the pro bono PR rep, for the Sith. I don't know why they have to have their own music, but sure.
Everybody, the Jedi have their own music. I
feel like this is like their WWE like intro music, where it's like, yeah, hate me, hate me, hate me, bring it, bring it. So, all right, so you're going to defend the Sith.
I'm going to try. Well, no, I'm not going to try. I'm going to successfully do it.
You're going to successfully do it.
Yeah.
All right, spin for me the Sith. Like, so clearly, I think they're the bad guys of the Star Wars universe.
Well, they're definitely portrayed that way.
So, okay, if all the Jedis except for Samuel L. Jackson has purple lightsaber, which whatever, why do the Sith have red lightsabers? Because red is bad. Stoplights are red. The Cincinnati Reds, I don't know what that really has anything to do with anything. The Patriots have red in their colors.
Okay.
Chicago Bulls are red. They're playing the Cavs right now. We don't like red.
I mean, I there's a lot of different reasons that they have a red lightsaber. I think from a point where it's one color, it's very easy to identify with. I mean, the Jedi are all over the place. You don't know where they stand because of the colors that they pick. So, you could have a guy with purple, you have a guy with blue, guy with green. What does that say? Guy with yellow.
They're a rainbow coalition,
right? Yeah. So you have red. The other thing is, and I don't mean to get too obscure, but the Jedi and the Sith, they get their crystals from a planet called Magito. And I think the Sith kind of decided on the fact, they're like, let's just stick with one color. Meanwhile, you've got the Jedi running into this planet, just mining the crap out of these crystals. And, I mean, you've got blue, green, yellow, purple. I know there's some white lightsabers, and then you've got a couple different hues. And that's like 5 different colors that, you look at like the strip mining point of view of it, the Sith are focusing on one color. They're gonna run that out slowly. It's gonna take quite a while for that natural resource to get eaten up. The Jedi, they're just digging a hole. So
they just want to appeal to everybody, though. Everybody wants to be a Jedi,
right?
Oh,
I don't know why.
All right. So great red lightsabers. We get it. New trailer shows a guy with a lightsaber that's red, but also has like a crossbar that's red. Mm-hmm. I think that would burn my hand. I don't know why.
Probably would.
Probably. So what about like the black outfits? That's the most goth thing. And it's like, we're just going to sit around a coffee shop and drink coffee and smoke cigarettes and be Sith.
I don't know. I don't see anything wrong with black. Black goes with everything. I mean, and you can't really say that, the Sith all dress in black. Look at Luke. Luke had a completely black outfit in Jedi.
Yeah, but he was just like, now it's time to be badass.
Oh, so you're saying that black denotes you're a badass. So, I mean, what's wrong with wearing black then?
I mean, okay, fine. He was just like, I'm done going to Tashi Station. It's time to wear some black. It's time to get real. All right, you know what? Order 66. Like, what was the big deal? Like, that is a dark move to be like, screw all you fruity sabered guys. We're going to kill all you. Fruity Saber. I'm trademarking that. You can't have that.
Fruity Saber?
Fruity Saber.
Yeah. Order 66 was merely a job, like headhunt. I mean, unfortunately, the Jedi weren't on board. Sidious or Palpatine in his position when he was setting everything up for the Republic / Empire, he had a lot of benefits lined up for people, healthcare, wages, other benefits. I'm sure there was a space 401k involved. I read that.
401k.
Well, I read that they have a space 401k. But the Order 66 was basically ink on the paper. Sidious agreed to the clones' terms. He said, look, here's what we'll provide for you, but here's the problem. The Jedi aren't on board, and like any delicious omelet, you're going to have to break a few eggs, okay? I mean, they were making this deal in a time of war. It's going to happen.
Okay. So, all right. So then let's go into the Force choke. That cannot be viewed as a positive to be like, I'm going to reach across the room and grasp your windpipe.
Everybody brings up the Force choke. Everybody's like, oh, it's so violent. Oh, it looks so painful. But, I mean, Vader Force chokes, several different admirals. And, I mean, I really don't think that Vader Force choked these guys. I mean, you look at the guy. He has a respiratory problem. I've talked to him. He's sensitive about it. To see someone gasping for air, it just crushes him.
Literally.
So literally. So people say, he's magically crushing their windpipe. I'm like, why would he do that? He can't breathe himself. So I mean, that's
So he's just like trying to bring everybody down to his level. Be like, listen,
No, it's just propaganda.
Propaganda.
It's there to make him look bad.
So okay, so if the Sith are so like misunderstood, why did they take Indiana Jones and put him in carbonite?
Okay, let me paint a picture for you. I know you don't have kids, so your daughter comes home, or you meet your daughter's new boyfriend for the first time. You find out he's a criminal. He smuggles drugs. He's also killed several government officials. I mean, what would you do? Would you let her keep dating him?
Okay, fine.
I would probably do the safest thing possible, and I would probably try to turn him into the police. Or, I mean, Vader is pretty much I guess, not the police, but, I mean, he had the means to keep his daughter safe. He took that initiative.
So he's just all like, I could let you date him, or I could just, like, put him on ice a little bit, let him cool down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let him really think about things.
Yeah.
Okay.
He didn't force choke him. He's safe in the carbonite.
That's true.
Away from his daughter.
I didn't think about that. I didn't think of old man Vader sitting on like a doorstep, like polishing the lightsaber. That sounds like a euphemism. Polishing the lightsaber is like gotta get him back home by the 12th parsec. That doesn't even make sense. But just like gotta get my daughter home. Like okay, fine. The Sith, maybe they aren't so bad. I don't know. Like the new movie, they kind of feel like they're going to be bad. Like, even though that guy's, what's his name? Rilo Ken? Ken Rilo.
I always miss it. Kylo Ren?
Kylo Ren?
Yeah.
Great. I mean,
didn't name him.
Credit to Abrams is like, I'm just going to roll some vowels and some consonants and come up with a name.
That's all you really have to do for a lot of names in
like,
Star Wars.
I'm going to ask a bunch of little kids, what would be a cool name? Kit Fisto.
Kit Fisto.
That's going to be a cool name. So... All right, so maybe the Sith aren't so bad. So maybe they are. I don't know. Please tweet us at Invading Podcast at Twitter, Invading Podcast at Gmail. Go to the Facebook. Tell us why we're wrong, why we're right. Maybe defend Luke and the whiny Jedi. I don't know. So we're getting close to wrapping things up. I apologize. We had to stop the PR bit here for the Sith, but that was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. A couple things just to point out, got Roar coming up, and I just my friend Pat and my friend Jason, they are premiering a short film that they did as part. CSU has a filmmaking course, and everybody there, they got to make short films, and it's going to be showing at the Atlas Cinema. Lakeshore 7 in Euclid this Friday.
Okay.
They've done a short film called Relics, which I can only hope is a sequel to the movie Relic that was with that big museum monster that attacked everybody that had Michael Madsen in it. Don't think it's really a direct sequel. I can only wish it is. But that movie's going to be there. It's free to go. Please go support the CSU students. I may be there. I may have a scheduling thing. But... You guys didn't hear that. You definitely did not hear the noise of that. Do you hear that? I'm going to tap that. You hear that? Oh. I'm tapping that right now.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's my fault. It's some gigawatts that's going on right now. So yeah, please go see that. We will have an episode next week at some point. Joe is going off to the wonderful land of Vegas.
Yes, I will be gone for a few days, and hopefully we can get this third, or is it, we're calling this episode 1?
Yeah, this is episode 1.
Episode 2 will be next week.
Oh, and wait! I have one more Star Wars thing I got to play real quick.
Before you die, there is something you should know about us, Lone Star. I am your father's brother's nephew's cousin's former roommate.
What's that make us?
Absolutely nothing.
All right, so that's the important thing to remember about Star Wars. But yeah, anyway, please, like I said, follow us on all the things that we talked about. This has been a really fun time. I do want to throw a shout out to Brew Kettle. They made all the beers for Free Comic Book Day, and I have been perusing the Dark Helmet beer that they put out in honor of Rick Moranis telling Lone Star that he's not related to him whatsoever. I don't know what's going on with that.
We'll throw up the links to Brew Kettle on the pages. I try to keep, if you have any questions about anything we talk about, I'll try my best to keep everything linked up on the page somewhere. for you guys to follow.
Yeah, so next time, a brief mention of what's going to happen next time. We are going to do we're going to have a fun game coming up that is going to involve a Russian roulette of sorts. That I'm going to leave that out for you guys to speculate. We will not be killing one another on the show, but part of our soul may die. So I'm just throwing that out there. So keep tuned. Keep tuned. I don't know if that's even a thing, but stay tuned, and it will be fun. I'm going to hit this, and we're going to have some music guide us on the way out. So may the Force be with you.
Yep.
Support your local Sith representative. Vote for them. I don't know.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.